And we are live once again. Welcome to Paradigm Shift TV. You got the dream team here, GT. You got Darian, and we got my boy Jamel. This is supposed to be an introduction of our brother Jamel. I didn't even get to ask him if he even wanted to be here. Do you want to be here, bro? I don't mean to put you on the spot like that. I don't mean to put you on the spot like that. But...
No, I'm good, bro. I'm here. I'm taking attendance 100%.
Okay. All right. So I just figured we need to get some content on. We had a bye week last week. Had a lot of stuff going on. So today, the topic, this is based off of what we've seen in the back chats about Christianity, like the Christian faith. Why is it so much smoke for the Christian faith? As I stated on my Facebook page, God teaches us love for him and love for our neighbors. And within the scriptures or the context of the scriptures of those teachings, he teaches us how to treat one another. You would think that would be something beneficial for any society, but yet Christianity, the faith, gets so much smoke. So we're going to cover at least 3 of those reasons that people give as to why so much smoke for the Christian faith. The first topic, or the first reason, would be they say it's a white man's religion. The second will be the Bible supports slavery. And the third would be the actions of the Roman Catholic Church throughout the history. So with that being said, first of all, I know Jamel, DMG is going to do an interview with you, but if you don't mind giving us a small introduction of who you are, what you're about, how you came to the faith, and then we'll start.
Sure. It's just like, I am Jamel J. Fax Lashley. I did not name myself that. It's a long story. I am born in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, the two first generation immigrants, also second generation slaves. I myself came to the faith in a really peculiar way. I wasn't doing nothing that led to the faith in the first place. I was actually doing something away from the faith, and it led me straight to the faith, hilariously. But that's how I ended up being a Christian. I got a real funny story about that I'm gonna give on the interview with DMG about how Brother Darian played a pivotal role in all of that.
Yeah. I think we all came in contact with each other around the same time. It was years ago.
Yeah, we did. I believe so. I think shortly after my conversion, I think we all met at Spirit Led, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember correctly, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Shout out to Spirit Led discussions. That was a pretty heated debate platform amongst, I don't know, sort of kind of like what we have here at Paradigm Shift. So Darren, you got anything you want to say before we start?
No, I'm good. I'm soaking it in. Yeah, when I was thinking about spirit-led discussions, I wasn't even really active in that. I low key just wanted to do a Bible study, and I just put my link out, and you came in like the police. You can't be putting that up in here. Like, you're really a real admin. You say, I'm about to delete your post, but I'm gonna follow up by coming to your prayer call.
Yeah. You know, when you have when people give you admin rights to their platform like this one, you know, certain ideas that you have, certain things that you may want, but you know, the group as a whole doesn't allow. So I had to go with the flow of the group. But because, see, Darian, your style of Bible study was just Bible, straight scriptures, and then we talk about it. Straight scriptures, and then we talk about it. We reflect on it. I like that because that's plain and simple. You get more content of description and more study or more understanding of what you're reading when you have this type of Bible study. So shout out to Trust and Believe. Oh, you beat me to it. Jacobus, what's up, bro? What's going on with you? So. Anything else?
Other than that, I'm happy to be here. Shout outs to DMG as always. As always for just allowing us to get on. Shout outs to David. I know hopefully we see him on in a few minutes. Just shout outs to the whole Paradigm Shift community and adjacent. I wish I knew DMG's actual whole intro, his welcome, but I don't know about her. So just shout outs to everybody that got love for DMG, the platform. Like and subscribe to the channel.
Hit that like button.
What's good, bro? Definitely hit the like button. If you on and you watching and you supporting DMG, definitely hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. DMG a good dude. If you know him, hit that like button.
Roger that. All right, so let's just go ahead and move forward. If you've seen the thumbnail, it was a stone piece depicting Paul being beheaded, and we know what the scriptures say as far as Christian persecution and how the servant is not greater than the master. And so if they hated Christ, they will also hate those who follow Christ. So, but when you sit back and think about why people say they hate the Christian faith, some of the most craziest things that I've heard, and one of those was, it's a white man's religion. Jamel, do you want to give us your reaction to that first claim?
I mean, the idea that any faith is a white man's religion that didn't come out of what? Yeah, I'm not even gonna go too deep. The idea that any religion, any faith, any belief system is a white man's religion, while the argument is that black people came first, is the most insane thing that I think I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm not even gonna argue the metrics of the faith itself. I'm not gonna argue any of that stuff. It just doesn't make any sense, right? If black people were first and everything came from black people, according to many lines of thought, then how can any faith be a white faith? How can any line of thought be a white line of thought?
So it's like they kind of shooting themselves in the foot with that type of argument.
And that's just, to me, that's a very rudimentary and overly simplistic way that I'm approaching it, right? Obviously, there are variables and things of that nature that come into play. But to me, it shouts in the face everything that's being stated previously. Like, if we were first, then obviously everything should have come from us, according to those lines of thought, right? I mean, yeah. If we want to argue biblical proportion, Jesus Christ was hidden among Egyptians who are colored people. How could he hide among colored people if he was white? Yeah. But again, I don't want to go too deep into, you know what I'm saying? That it just, to me, it just automatically doesn't make any sense. By itself, the statement itself makes zero sense. If we're talking about it being used as a tool to manipulate and destroy people, we can talk about that all day. You know what I'm saying? And who used it to do those things? We can talk about that all day. There's so much we can cover in that specific aspect. But to say that the faith itself belongs to any specific race of people just doesn't make any sense, especially to say that it's a white faith. It's confusing to me.
I agree. What's your reaction, Darren?
I mean, he pretty much summed it up in terms of, I feel like when people use that, it's really just a weak argument, and just being a part of or being connected to the community in terms of the black conscious side. I think people use that as like the almighty trump card. When you pull a race card and say it's a white person religion, it's supposed to make you shudder and, whatever it is that they think is supposed to happen when you hear that, and then not knowing how ignorant it actually is to run with that claim. I just think I think we do ourselves a disservice by doing that and saying that it's a white person's religion. And to me, it's just I think that with better scholarship and a more historical and documented approach, you wouldn't come to that conclusion.
Agreed. And just to caveat off of both of y'all, concerning the location of where the Gospels were started, it's in Jerusalem. It's not in Europe. But one thing that I found that was very interesting in regards to this, because I've heard this argument come from the Black conscious community, where and even some in the Black Hebrew community, where they say, you know, Jesus is a white man's name. It means hell Zeus, hell pig, or something like that. But they argue that the Christian faith came from the Greeks, when that is absolutely not true. Second, when I read in the book of Acts, I see that there was an Ethiopian who came in contact with Philip. And, you know, here's the crazy part about that. The Ethiopian was already in possession of the Old Testament book. Let me go and let me share this screen with you. I went to the actual scripture. Let's see. Share screen. Let's see, Simon. Let's see. Philip. Okay. Can y'all see it?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. All right. And I'm trying to find out where I want to start at. Okay. So this is Acts chapter 8, verses 26. And the angel of the Lord spoke unto Philip, saying, Arise and go towards the south unto the way that goeth down from Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is desert. And he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, a eunuch of great authority under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure, and had come to Jerusalem for to worship, was returning and sitting in his chariot, read Isaiah the prophet. Then the Spirit said unto Philip, Go near and join thyself to his chariot. And Philip ran thither to him and heard him read the prophet Isaiah, and said, Understandest thou what thou readest? And he said, How can I, except some man should guide me? And he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him. The place of the scripture where he read was this: He was led as a sheep to the slaughter, and like a lamb dumb before his shearers, so opened not his mouth. In his humiliation, his judgment was taken away. And who shall declare his generation? For his life is taken from the earth. And the eunuch answered Philip and said, I pray thee, of whom speaketh this prophet? Of himself or of some other man? Then Philip opened his mouth and began at the same scripture and preached unto him Jesus Christ. So, let me see, stop screen. So, as a Christian, as I'm reading this, I'm understanding that this is an Ethiopian. Ethiopia is a country in Africa, and he came into contact with Philip, who preached the gospel to him, and the gospel started fairly early in the 1st century AD. So that tells me that the Christian faith was not a white man's religion, but more so, I guess we could say a Jewish religion. But what we do know is that it didn't
Originate. It did not originate. Yeah.
It didn't originate from Europe. And the way that it ended up in Africa was by way of proselytizing or preaching the gospel. I think that's a fair assessment.
Fair is an understatement. I mean, that's an understatement. It's exactly what happened. I mean, it's not like we're not talking about I'd understand if we were talking about opinions of others, right? Like you just read it from the Bible itself. If we want to argue whether or not this story has any history, we can look up the characters themselves. But then, of course, the goalposts could be moved to, well, those characters were injected in the text at a later time. All these hoops to jump through. You understand what I'm saying? In order to invalidate the historicity of the conversation itself. However, it's plain. I mean, we're not sitting here discussing opinion. You read what it said, and it verbatim speaks to people of color, blacks. We talking about Ethiopia. You know what I'm saying? In possession of historical biblical text. The prophet Isaiah, who's reading specifically. I'm sorry, Elisha. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
It was
He's
Isaiah.
reading. It was Isaiah. Okay, it was Isaiah. He was reading text, you know what I'm saying, concerning Isaiah. So I'm like, where would he get that from if it was a white man's religion? Why would he have it in Ethiopia? I'm sorry, did they manufacture it in Europe and then ship it to Ethiopia for them to study?
Right. Exactly. Darian?
No, that's I was reading the comment, but I agree with you. You would have had it's a lot of work you would have to do to make it a European text, and I feel like to say that is a bit crazy, you know. I think it's wild for people to even think that you could just throw it's a white person religion, and then we move past that, and then we try to throw the baby out with the bathwater, like we've been saying from the rip. So far, I don't want to beat a dead horse. You know, I think that what makes people believe that it's a white person religion is the prominence of Catholicism and the early portion of Protestantism. I think that because there is not a lot of strong teaching and historical aspects when we talk about what church in Africa looked like at a certain time, or the proselytizing piece of Judaism. You know,
Honestly,
people don't.
I think there's a lot of history that's erased, or the context of history that's erased concerning how things were taken from land to land, right? Like there's animals and insects that don't belong in Australia that's in Australia as a result of migration. Understand what I'm saying? And in most cases, and that's just an example that I'm making, right? That's just an example that I'm making. A lot of people tend to forget that, especially in early civilizations, a lot of our lives was hell bent or twisted around conquest. A lot of it was twisted around conquest, the conquering of other lands, the idea of leaving your name, a legacy of some sort. And a great deal of what we see today, religiously or otherwise, was spread. And I cannot remember the scholar that referenced him as the most important person historically for any Abrahamic faith, was Alexander the Great. Because he ruled over much of the free world, quite literally. We're talking about trade ports in Carthage, which is in North Africa. These things were literally, and I don't want to run on and on, right? But it bothers me that in majority of cases, when we're discussing these things, we never talk about the fact that a lot of the information is either passed or carried from port to port or through land to land by these people who are migrating from space to space. Like, that's just what's happening. And it's weird to me that, and especially when you bring this up, right? And you bring up a logical point about explaining this, the goalpost is moved. It happens. You know what I'm saying? The goalpost is moved. Oh, well, you got migration. Yeah, I mean, it's common sense. We move. Bro, I'm not from Texas. I just live here. Around. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I hear you. Let me see. I'm trying to share something real quick. So now I went to now this is I do this for the sake of the saints that are not really privy to all this type of information. And I'm just showing you that you can go to a regular website like Encyclopedia
Britannica, yeah, literally.
Britannica.com or
This stuff's all documented.
Britannica.com.
Exactly.
I used to own like A to Z before the tornado, but this is the Hello?
Yeah, we here.
You still there? Uh-oh.
Yeah, we here.
Yeah, we're here. Uh-oh.
Okay. All right, my bad. All right. So I'm just saying, can y'all hear me?
Yes. We can hear you. Keep talking.
I think I do have a delay. I don't know why it does that, but then come back in. Let me see.
Just keep talking. It's not a delay on our end. Well, it seems like he was about to bring up the Axum Empire and Britannica.
Okay. Mic check.
You sound fine.
Mic check.
You good.
Okay. All right. So the only reason I'm doing this is because, again, for the Saints that's not privy to all this type of information, this is the information age. You can go on the internet. I believe Britannica.com is a very reliable source for basic information. And I'm going to read through this I'm going to read through this little small portion. So we're talking about the Axum Kingdom. It says here, the Axum powerful kingdom in northern Ethiopia during the early Christian era. Despite common belief to the contrary, kingdoms of southern Arabia, but instead developed as a local power. At its apogee, 3rd century to the 6th century CE, Axum became the greatest market of northeastern Africa. Its merchants traded as far as Alexandria beyond the Nile River. Axum continued to dominate the Red Sea coast of the Gulf of Aden to Zillah on the northern coast of Somaliland. During the 2nd and 3rd century CE, its growth as a trading empire increasingly impinged on the power of the kingdom of Mero, the fall of which was brought about in the 4th century by the Aksumite invasion. During the 1st century, the kings of Axum were Christianized, thus becoming both politically and religiously linked to Byzantine Egypt. At the same time, they extended their authority into southern Arabia. In the 6th century, an Aksumite king reduced the Yemen to a state of vassalage. So I'm going to just pause there.
You on mute.
Yes, I'm thinking it was me.
Okay. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we get you.
Okay. So why did I read that? It was just showing that Christianity was in Africa way before the transatlantic slave trade. So again, this whole thing about Christianity being a white man's religion is far-fetched. It's far-fetched. So
agreed.
Let's move on to the second one. I had actually named them in the wrong order, but do we want to talk about do you want to focus on the Bible supports slavery and mind control, or should we touch on the activities of the Roman Catholic Church?
Go with the Roman Catholic Church first, and then go, because you got that one dude, what's his name, Russell? He leaves a comment on every video.
Did you? Oh, Russell, is it that dude again? Him?
Yeah, but it's like, bro, we've already debunked what you posting. Like, so get into that because I hope he on because I think he like you're not gonna convert us to a YouTube. You watch too many YouTube videos that they just not even historical, bro. Like you gotta give up with that. I hope
Oh
you
yeah,
hear me too. Like
where he was saying,
stop posting on everything. Like it's cool to come on and when we open up the shows for you and all that, and you can comment in the comments, but don't. It's like you leaving your little dogmatic stuff. Like, bro, we see how you be moving. Like you've already been refuted like 4 times. It's like I've watched you have no answers, and then when questioned, you tell us to go look at the internet. Like that's not gonna work. If you gonna make a claim and you gonna say you have the answers, give us the support and details so that we know where you coming from. Don't refer us to something that we not gonna look up. We can do a 5-minute Google search.
right?
Who's that? Is that him?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
That's me. I got disconnected.
yeah. I was like, perfect. I want Joe to come on because he be saying some stuff. GT, you already got
But
him.
that's the point that I'm making, though, right? That's kind of the basis of the entire argument with why there's so much smoke for the Christian faith specifically. For whatever reason, and then we've got our speculations as Christians. We got our reasons as to why. There's a bunch of reasons, a myriad of reasons as to why these people are doing this stuff, right? But the tactic is always move the goalposts. All right, they can answer that question, so we got to switch to this. You get what I'm saying? Like there's
And I get
always
it.
there's
I understand. Some of it is warranted because of Christian dogma or Christian arrogance, as some have said. I'm not saying Christians is perfect. I'm not saying that at all.
right.
But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to put that out there.
no, you're right. You're right. You're 100% right. That's why I let you breathe, bro, because it's true. Like in majority of cases, I don't know what it is, bro. It's almost as if Christians and I understand that there's a representation of Christianity in the world that taints what the faith is supposed to look like. But what's in most cases, if I'm being really honest with you, bro, it's one of the largest, if not, is it the largest or second largest? I can't remember. I'm
It's
not
still
really
the
sure.
first. It's still the first,
The
but
largest. So we're talking about out of let's say out of 8 billion people, let's say 2 billion people believe in Jesus Christ. They have their faith in Jesus Christ, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're arguing for the millions. You get what I'm saying? Like the squeaky wheel is getting the oil, and these people are focusing on those things. Just as much as there's a bad representation, there's 2 or 3 times more a positive and good representation of such. But that's never looked at. That's never seen. You understand what I'm saying?
right.
It's weird. It's like this idea that society has, like, okay, well, if these Christians are bad, then there's no way that God can be real. That doesn't make any sense because at the end of the day, those people are still human. They still have freedom. They still have free will. They're gonna make their decisions and their choices accordingly. At the end of the day, I mean, that is the faith, right? Before
Right.
you lies, the choice of life and death. Choose life so that you and your seed may live. That's what the Bible says, right?
Exactly.
We're choosing every single day. So the idea that this perfect image of what a Christian should be is indicative of how flawed or the for lack of a better term, fugazi the faith itself is kind of it's weird to me, bro. Like, because then no other faith is held to this level of scrutiny. Like
Yeah.
none,
Yes,
none.
that made me think, like, is it more than just a issue of doctrine or is it is it an issue concerning behavior, of the Christians? Like we pointed out, there's no real perfect Christians out there. And there's way more good examples than there is bad examples. So if it's not, but when you listen to the arguments and they don't make sense, I tend to lean towards it's more of a heart issue versus a doctrinal or scholarly or educational type issue. It seems more of a heart issue. They don't want to believe because then they will have to be accountable for whatever type of lifestyle they enjoy. And
so I'll say it's a couple of different variants. I've heard quite a few different arguments that I could probably rattle off. The first argument I'll say, I've heard people say the Bible is contradictory. And then they quote a bunch of scriptures out of context. And then they say, see, I got you. And then when you show them that it's not contradictory, they find another way to say, oh, well, back in this time, they didn't have this much information, so they didn't know. Okay, so either it's contradictory or the people just wasn't fully updated. Which one was it? Because that's not the same. It's not the same thing. Saying a contradiction is one thing, and then saying a person doesn't. Oh, well, they was illiterate. They couldn't read. What? Okay. Oh, the oral teachings, everything that they came through orally is false. They didn't know what they was talking about then. So it wasn't until the first council that they changed everything. Like, wait a minute. So now everything changed, but it's a contradiction. But people already had the information before the council. Wait a minute. You sure you know what you're talking about? And then they start quoting scholar. See, when you quote somebody that went to college and they put a paper together, that don't make the person right because they went to school. It just means that they've had access to information that the regular Joe Blow probably would not find. Like if I had
honestly, I'm agreeing with you. Honestly, even in those cases, majority of cases, it isn't even a matter of the information itself being relevant or not. In majority of cases, they want to argue opinion because you can dance around opinion all day. Mm-hmm. But if I tell you this is what this is defined as, how can you argue with the definition? You understand what I'm saying?
Facts.
Yeah.
Also, another argument that I've heard, so we covered the white man religion. All Christians is hypocrites. This is another one. We seen it in the back chat. We wake up every day. Christians are toxic. I'm thinking to myself, like the people who are making the comments. Well, let's say if I never told you what I believed, right? I never told you who I believed in. You never knew that I believed in Jesus. You never knew that I read the Bible, right? Half the people that be having these conversations, when you listen to them, and I'm not gonna say anybody's name. I'm just saying. Yeah. When you hear how they deal with other people in their own everyday, ordinary life, I'm thinking to myself, like, so regardless of who I believe in, you still have an issue with, like, relationships. You have an issue with your parents, whatever the case may be. Like, so if I'm a hypocrite and I'm saying that I'm not perfect and I believe the Bible, the first thing you say is, oh, you're a hypocrite. I can't trust you because you're a Christian, but you're the one who's stealing. Like, you're the one who, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like we play this game where you could call me out for anything. If I say I'm a Christian, the first thing you want to do is find any little chink in my armor. Arguably, you'll find something. You probably will. If you really was looking hard enough, you'll probably find something that you can pull out on me. But then I'm like, okay, so the question is, the stuff you calling me out for, are you guilty of it too? Because if you are, at least for me, as a Christian, I'm keeping it a buck. Like, all right, yeah, I cussed somebody out the other day. I'm wrong. I'm still ghetto. Whatever it is, that's what it is. But you doing the same things, but you trying to make it seem like I'm worse than you because I'm a Christian at the same time. And then you're like, oh, all you want to do is promise people if they don't believe they going to hell. Like, no, that's what you promising them. You know what I'm saying? That's not the central. What I think I'm trying to say, people try to push the central theme of Christianity as a judgmental piece, and it ties into hell as opposed to heaven. And I'm a hypocrite. And so the reason why they would never believe in the God of the Bible is because I'm fake. That's the way the argument gets built. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. The many excuses that they would try to find and do find as to why they don't want to believe in the Bible, why they don't want to believe in the God of the Bible, that why they don't want to in the redemptive plan of Jesus Christ. And it's crazy because if you really did understand, this is another problem. They don't read the Bible, but yet they forever quoting the Bible or misquoting the Bible. And when they do that, it's like quoting out of context. You're demonstrating that you don't have a good grasp on the biblical narrative, because the biblical narrative demonstrates that God loves his creation so much so that he sent his son to redeem mankind back into a relationship with himself. If that's not love, I don't know what is. Oh, but because this is another one that you might hear. Oh, God is a lunatic because he had the children of Israel to kill off the people at Jericho and stuff like that. Well, did you read the scriptures? Did you see the context of what was going on? Do you not understand that God is just in what he does? I'm not going to question God why he did X, Y, and Z. All I know is he showed me what happened in the past so that I can learn from both the mistakes and the success of the patriarchs and try to mimic the things that they did by putting a faith in God and showing love to their neighbors, no matter who they were. And that right there is the whole of God's law. But why do people hate that? Why is that something seen to be hated on? Why the smoke? Yes, I understand Christians are not perfect. I'm not perfect. I still have to work on myself with certain things. Of course, I think everyone does. But if they got into the Christian faith and understood the path and the walk that we're supposed to have, one, it's a continual race. Continue the race. That's what we're told. Even if you fall, what are you supposed to do? You're just supposed to lay there? You're supposed to just lay there? No, get up and keep running. But all these things we learn in the Bible, but they don't understand the intricate parts of the Christian faith. And so I believe that's the one reason why they make such crazy comments like, it's a white man's religion, God is a lunatic, Christians are hypocrites. It's not about that. It's about the redemption, the redemptive power of Jesus Christ, and that brings reconciliation back to God the Father. And I know we was going to talk about. Well, I still want to point out how they point at the activities of the Roman Catholic Church. Now, I'm not a scholar or too privy on the Roman Catholic Church, but some of the activities that I have seen, dun dun dun.
About time. Well. Perfect. Actually, it was perfect timing, because there's the Roman Catholic Church gentleman right there. He's the one who knows about the Roman Catholic Church in a way where it can be discussed with some kind of cohesiveness.
Yeah. So basically, what I was stating about the Catholic Church, some of the activities, and David, you can back me up on this. We've seen in situations where the Roman Catholic Church has persecuted Christians. Is this a true statement?
Repeat that. I'm sorry. I was just trying to adjust my sound.
Where I was saying that the Roman Catholic Church has been known historically to persecute Bible-believing Christians.
Well, yeah. This began in I believe this was 1260 AD when the persecutions began, and it got worse over the period of 400 years. This is what theologians call 400 years where God was quote unquote silent. Mm-hmm. And so they hid in the mountains. There are a couple of Christians that were called Waldensians, which were from Italy, and they fled to the mountains of Italy to get away from the Catholic Church and the persecutions. And instance, a guy by the name of Tyndale. Tyndale was
William Tyndale.
yeah, William Tyndale was burned at the stake.
That's
So
a
that
stick. Yes, he was.
and then they came
Yeah.
back and burned his bones. The Catholic
Whoa.
Church hated him so much. You got John Huss. You've got other individuals because they were trying to warn the people of the false teachings of the Roman Catholic Church. And it's kind of interesting because when I talk to different ones that are outside of the faith, I'm talking about Christianity, they either say two things. They'll say that Christianity is evil, not in the Bible at all, which it is. 3 times it's mentioned in the scriptures in the New Testament, in the book of Acts, where it says, and the disciples were called Christians in Antioch. Antioch is the place where the true Christians or the children of the way began. And so that's significant in and of itself. And then, of course, they'll say that, or they'll say, well, Christianity had endorsed slavery. This is a very famous misconception amongst people within the pro-Black community. And when you try to tell them this, well, it wasn't Christianity. It wasn't the Christians. It was Catholics. Catholics went around and persecuted Christians for 400 years. And all of this has been whitewashed in church history. And so the reason why a lot of Christians don't understand that portion of church history is because it's not taught. So it's easily misunderstood. But in 1521, when the Council of Trent was being was first formulated by the Pope, I think it was Pope. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jamel, but I think it was Pope
Bonyface.
Boniface.
But I'll call him Bonyface. But
Oh.
yeah, but you
I
said
think it was-
Jamel. Y'all know more about this than I do.
But I think it was
His
Pope
name
Boniface.
popped in my head.
Yeah, but I think Jamel's on mute. But
How would you speak to the part where there are Protestants like the Puritans who own slaves?
well, they didn't own slaves either. It was the white settlers and see. Here's the thing. There's a lot of tribalism going on in Africa. A lot of tribalism, and that's the part where they skip over the most. And so you had blacks selling other blacks into slavery for miscellaneous goods like soap, sugar, other things like that. And you had other Arabs that were selling blacks as slaves. And then not only that, but they weren't treated as horribly as history as they would like us to believe. You know, again, they were treated nicely. Some were, I'm not saying that there were black slaves that were treated horribly. They were. We're not denying this. But what we are saying is that slavery was not, there were other slaves that were not treated as harshly. As a matter of fact, they were allowed in the house. They were treated very well. They were, and so that's what a lot of the people within the pro-Black community openly deny. They don't even talk about it as much.
So let me ask this though: slavery is not a Christian institution, is it?
Well, no.
Exactly.
Slavery have been around since before Christianity actually existed.
Right.
Like I can't explain to you what a Christian during those times, how they would have justified. And I think we've talked about this though, the part about the justification in regards to the topic of evolution. But as far as a Christian justifying owning slaves, I don't know how they were able to do that and call themselves a Christian, regardless of how they may have treated the slave. At the end of the day, it was still a slave.
Right. I'm not justifying slavery.
I ain't saying you are. I'm just, what I was just saying is that, You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that was going on during that time. I still have questions about like what made some of these Christians or people who considered themselves to be Christians, how did they justify owning slaves, but yet calling themselves Christians when the Christian faith does not allow for such things?
Bad theology. I mean, so one of the arguments we heard the other day when we was all on that group call, you gotta remember that even though the Bible doesn't inherently teach slavery, there are people who make it to say whatever they wanted to say. I mean, we about to debate somebody that's forcing it to say God is electromagnetism, and they playing around with scriptures and verbiage just to get to it. So
Right.
if they can do that, then you can have somebody say this mean this and this mean this, and they descendants of Ham. These are the people that we should enslave. You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily a Bible teaching, but they like you can finesse. You have people at a certain point in time, and like my grandmother's time, who decided to opt out of what's that package when you retire?
It's a
Social Security.
severance package.
Yes, Social Security. Like there was two different forms of Social Security at a certain point. From what I had, I used to hear the story from her all the time, and she ended up signing up with like some other form of Social Security and lost her money, even though she had been paying into it for years. And so they came to her with a rhetoric and some information. What I'm saying is, why don't we openly have the discussion where it says, okay, there are people that come with a book or the Bible, whether it's redacted, where there's certain things missing, and then they teach and superimpose other thoughts into it. When you think of it that way, it's a lot clearer of a picture, because if the Bible isn't physically saying it, there's only like 3 scriptures that they go to where it tries to get you to be nicer to the slaves in one area, and Paul says something like something about the slave masters and their dealings with how the slaves should be treated and handled. But in the Old Testament itself, it says that men stealing is wrong. So to steal a person, I mean, that's how slavery starts. You take somebody from where they don't belong. At least the way that the average person teaches slavery, they showed up to the shores of Africa with ships and snatched people, and then came across the Atlantic Ocean. That's what they teach. But the Bible says men stealing is a sin. So
Right.
What I'm trying to figure out is, how did we get from saying that it's a sin to seeing it already happening because I thought that slavery started in Athens way before Christianity even was a thing. I thought slavery was a Greek construct. Maybe I'm wrong. That's not my strong suit in terms of all of the idiosyncrasies of that. But
Well, we have. Oh, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
was just gonna say we not us particularly, but we have allowed these teachings to come out where they point out how scripture was manipulated and used as a tool, but we never talk about, let's say, for instance, another
What
ideology.
scripture actually says.
Right. What scripture actually says. But then there's other teachings, like we don't say science is bad when there are scientists who have said that black people were less than human. You feel me?
Yeah, they use that even. But the scripture
Got
that
the
you
big
were
boss in the house.
There he is.
You know how they say, speak of the devil and he shall appear. Speak of DMG and he shall appear. So
What's going on, bro? What's up with you, man?
Good show as always, bros. I appreciate y'all coming in and doing y'all thing as always. Always powerful content. I didn't realize y'all was going live tonight. I scheduled a show and I was like, I gotta call GT because I think we're gonna have a scheduling conflict Thursday. And then I seen y'all was live tonight. I was like, oh, okay, we good. So
Okay,
Yes,
good.
sir.
yeah, I just wanted to tap in and let y'all know, man. I appreciate what y'all doing and keep up the good work. Welcome, brother Jamal to Paradigm Shift.
Jamel.
I'm looking forward to him chopping off some unbelievers' heads with some of this apologetic fire y'all got. I gave y'all another nickname, the Urban Apologetic Assassins, who gonna be taking on Naga on May 11th. So I don't know if it's gonna be a bloodbath on which side, but I think it's gonna be some blood, some intellectual blood shed. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm definitely trying to find somebody for my brother Jamel to knock heads with. So we
He supposed to
get
go
to
up against Pan. We just don't have no date for it.
okay. What's the topic?
What's the topic, Jamel?
Whether or not there's sufficient proof that there's a higher power or God.
Oh, and real quick, shout out to my man Reginald Wells in the building. I see, hey Reginald, please put your channel in the chat. If you watching, please go subscribe to that brother channel. I plan on getting over there as soon as I can and chopping it up with my bro, and hopefully I can get him over here so he can chop it up. But please support that brother. He's doing good things. And
This is the same Reggie. What's up, bro?
yeah. I've been wanting to get over there for a while. So yeah, please go support him. Again, a powerful brother doing powerful things. So hey man, I think for real, the axis then kind of turned because I see Black Christians being more active, being more proactive, getting to it in a more aggressive way when it comes to putting our demonstration down and addressing the criticisms of the gospels from all sides. And I feel like the conscious community ain't really stepping up to answer what's being put out. I feel like they kind of taking a step back. They talking to abos and keeping the same little tired conversations with the Israelites going, but they don't really want to step to us. Shout out to my man Sonetta. He had Pastor Bennett, Christine Nick, and it's another pastor he had on tonight putting down their demonstration.
Oh, I hang up with that.
Yeah. Go check that out. So shout out to Big Bro, because again, this ain't 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If you got something to say about Black people being Christians and you coming with that made up false rhetoric about Christianity was forced on our ancestors and Christianity is the white man's religion, you're gonna have to prove it. You can't just talk that talk. You got to prove it. Y'all say source up or shut up. We saying put up or get shut down. So we want all the smoke. And you see the dream team is on the ball. They ain't nobody running, ain't nobody hiding. We got the soldier and the GT, we got the Haitian assassin, and David is like silent but deadly. He like I don't even know what to say about him. I feel like Naga is underestimating him because I hear them talk a lot about the GT and Darian, but they don't say nothing about David, and I think they in for a surprise. So I'm gonna mess around and start calling him King David after the debate.
Oh,
I want to see what my boys Naga gonna come with, man. This gonna be a powerful debate, and I think it's gonna be more evidence of how this axis is starting to shift. If Naga can pull it off, maybe the conscious community is still, at the tipping point when it comes to these debates and these conversations. But I think the dream team finna show the world something. So that's my 2 cents, man. So y'all make sure y'all here on May 11th to check that out. Paradigm Shift TV, the whole effing show. Darian, tell them what your channel is because we can stream it over there too. We're gonna get to it, man.
Yes, sir. It's just going to right now. Right now, it's about to be the Forge 410. I just need to put that up there. I have that for the next show. It'll be dropped in the comments too.
Okay, if anybody know this Reginald Wells channel, if anybody know how to get the link to that, we can put it in the chat. But if we don't get it this time, we'll get it the next time. Definitely gonna start telling people to go over there and support that brother. So, but yeah, I just wanted to come in and give y'all. I don't like saying giving men they flowers, so I'm gonna just say
No Diddy.
Get y'all goal, so to speak. And
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I appreciate what y'all doing, man, and please keep up the good work. So I see my man Nobody from Trust and Believe the Gospel in the building. We might stream it over on his channel too. And don't worry, y'all who miss Nobody. He coming back. He just been big. He didn't got all professional and uppity on us, but he's still ghetto. He coming back and he gonna start knocking some heads too and moderating and hosting and all that good stuff. So don't think y'all done got away from the Jolly Brown Giant. So he coming back. Just give it a couple of weeks. So we definitely gonna be getting to it, man. But that's all I got, man. I ain't mean to infringe on y'all show, man. I'm a duck on back out.
Nah, you good, bro.
For sure. Oh, real quick, I got Khalil Amani. I always mess up his last name. Khalil Amani, Thursday at 7 p.m. And he got a lot to say. Israel doctrine, the dude that said I work for the government as if that's a bad thing, even though I don't really work for the government. But, I guess he was trying to say I was an agent. No proof whatsoever. I ain't never worked. I worked for the post office back in 2000 as a, what they call it, a casual. I wanted to take the test, but I never got to it. That's about as close as I got. But if I ever get an opportunity to work for the government, I want to let y'all know I'm taking that gig. The benefits impeccable.
Hey,
so
I ain't heard that word in a long time. An agent?
Yeah.
They still use that dumb stuff. You're an agent.
This idiot called me an agent because I didn't agree with his Israelite premise. But he a nut, and me, the Craigs say I'm too nice, and I can be sometimes because I try to be a brother to people. The brother had been itching to get over here, and I finally threw him a bone, even though I knew he was unstable. Alfredo told me he was unstable. but me and me trying to, oh man, I give everybody a chance, and it came back to bite me. And so I ended up letting him come over here, and he talking about the difference between an Israelite and a Hebrew Israelite, and another brother came in and was trying to, challenge it, and I'm kind of moderating it, and he blew up. Get him off of here, I'm leaving. And I'm like, bro, I'm not. I said, hey man, go ahead and close out. And he's not allowed to close. First of all, you can't tell nobody what they gonna do on my channel. I said, go ahead and close out. He gonna close out. And so he ended up leaving. And since he left, it was like, okay, and I, how I can get sometimes. So I went off, and he went over on this channel and made like 4 videos calling me an agent. He slandered Khalil Amani's name, and the brother ended up seeing the channel, reached out, and so now me and him got an interview. And this is actually somebody who took down an actual murderous cult. And so, what how sometimes people think they doing something for your bad, and they end up doing something for your good, because this is actually a pretty big interview for the platform. So shout out to the idiot Israel Doctrine for helping me link up with Khalil Amani. I appreciate you, dummy. And all the other dummies that be hating on the paradigm. Like, we got somebody talking about I got a struggle platform. But again, I'd rather have a struggle platform, let y'all call it, that's respected, than one of these platforms who only piggyback off other people's content and want to deal with controversy and put down other people. So y'all keep doing what y'all doing. I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I'm done now, for real. Peace to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all.
Hey, no problem, bro.
My man say I'm still applying according to Sakura. Them Israelites, man. I'm out, y'all.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, man. That feels good to have DMG come on and let us know, hey, we doing what we supposed to do. And I think since we are at the hour mark, uh, throw the link in there. Throw the link in there. Anybody want to come on, say they piece? If you
I'm
have,
sure Russell Shooter's available. I know he be in the wings waiting to get out here and try his details.
yeah, come on, bring it on, Mr. Russell. I was going to say, like David's name, and I found this out when I was doing my chronological study about the name of David and how the name itself is pronounced as Daudu or something like
Yep,
that.
Daoud.
Yeah, Daoud, and it means beloved of Yahweh.
Yep, beloved of God.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Names have meanings, but again, back to this whole topic, man. Why is it so much smoke? When we look at the scriptures, like I said earlier, we are hated mainly because we belong to Christ. So it has to be that spirit of Antichrist. What y'all think about that?
Well, I think that um, we are hated because of that spirit of Antichrist. And we're also being lumped in with a lot of other false churches. Um, when I was, when I first got saved in 2002, um, I noticed that a lot of modernism has entered into the church, cultural modernism, and it's being amalgamated into the church simply because, well, it's relatable. We're preaching the gospel is not enough to get people saved because, well, people are not going to relate, especially young people today, this hip hop generation. They're not going to be able to relate to a person with a suit and tie on, and they're not going to open up and want to willingly be saved. So you have to more or less be culturally relevant. There was a phrase used by the new evangelical movement or the seeker sensitive movement: culturally relevant but theologically no culturally liberal but theologically relevant, or not theologically relevant but theologically conservative.
Hmm.
And this was coined by a guy by the name of Mark Driscoll. And that simply means that you have two schools of thought. You have conservatism or theological conservatism, and you have modernism. So what ends up happening? You have the culture. What happens when you put the two together? Well, you have the best of both worlds in his eyes.
Hmm.
But the scriptures say that this is confusion because Bible says, you cannot serve two masters. Either you have to hate the one and love the other. This
Right.
is Jesus' words. Can't love God and mammon, which is a demon, the demon of wealth and prosperity.
The
Yeah.
thing is, they reject that. They're not even listening to none of that, right?
They're
And I
not
find
really.
it interesting that the culture plays a part in it. And the only reason I think, and now, I'm gonna say the institution of the church failed at this aspect by allowing culture to dictate the pace instead of us showing the humanity of the faith itself. Understand what I'm saying? If we showed stories such as owning, clapping cheeks, and pulling out, you see what I'm saying? And if we showed it, we spoke about stories about that and gave lessons accordingly, I think there'd be a lot more relation. There's a human aspect of the scriptures that's completely overlooked, but in the institution, and as a result of that, we forget that there is a lot of relatable content. You understand what I'm saying?
But they don't. It's the thing about it is that it's doctrine, and doctrine matters, and a lot of young people today don't understand that, and so the mistake that the church has made is, and for the sake of conversation, I'm going to use the quote unquote black church, not in terms of race, but in terms of culture. Because in terms of culture, the black church has been used to what is called emotionalism, theatrics, sensationalism. And so we have that as opposed as as at the expense of the sound teach. Not every black church is like this. I'm not going to say all black churches are this way, because I've been to a few of them that are pretty conservative, and they don't go for the theatrics and the nonsense, the pomp and the circumstance. They don't do it, but there
But
are those that do, and so what ends up happening is we lose our young people because it's that generation gap, and there is no generation gap in the body of Christ. All
yeah,
are being made to drink from the same spirit, is 1 Corinthians 12. So there is no generation gap. Comes from the rock industry, the music industry. And so since I hear a lot of Christians talk about that, and so that leads me to know that, okay, these people have been affected by the secular world, that have been affected by the culture. And so what they do is they make a mistake, and they try to involve it or push it or amalgamate it into the church. And again, as I said at the beginning of my statement, it's a mess. It turns into a mess.
like having that witch at the church. I think there was a report of a witch at a church and stuff like that. Um, yeah, like culturally, again, that's just a subject that I'm not too privy with, but um, thinking about what you said about the theatrics, I'm all for it if at least within the program I can get some good manna, I can get some good Bible study. You know what I'm
Oh, it's all
saying?
about balance.
Yeah. We
It's all
had
about balance.
if I was at church and the pastor came out and he was teaching a good word, and then you know how the flow goes at right at the end, he doing the hooping and hollering. Hey, some people is for that, but I'm like this. We can hoop and holler all day long, just as long as I was fed the word. And hey, I'm good. I'm good with that.
Well, hey, I'm for it as long as he's teaching the word.
Yeah.
If he's teaching the word and he gets animated, because there are preachers that do that, he gets animated and he gets, then hey, I don't mind. I'm all power to him. I'm all for it. But if he's doing this, if it's Barnum, if it's Ringling Brothers Barnum and Balaam, and it, or Barnum and Bailey, I should say, and there's no substance, it's not substantive, then now we have a problem.
Now, is that another excuse that unbelievers may give as to why they don't rock or why they have so much smoke for the Christian faith?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why, because they can't relate to what's being taught. And so what they end up doing, and I've heard this coming from a lot of Black Hebrew Israelites in particular, the reason why I don't subscribe to Christianity is because I was a deacon in the church and I saw this corruption. Pastor was sleeping with this girl, and he had a wife and a girlfriend on the side, and everybody in the church knew it. And so I became disgruntled and I became disillusioned. And so they leave angry, or they ended up getting into an argument with the pastor, and the pastor said a couple things that were harsh and mean and nasty, and so became angry and disenfranchised by the church, or they didn't allow me to use my gifts. I felt socially ostracized.
Well, let
And
me ask this question before I forget. I don't mean to cut you off. Let me ask this question before I forget. This is to Jamel. Uh, is it fair to now Darian brought this up earlier, throw the baby out with the bathwater because of what individual Christians have done? Is that right to look at the entire faith as a bad thing because the people who call themselves of the faith have done wrong?
yeah, he's on mute.
Is that question for me?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it was for
Oh
you.
shit! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I swore you was talking to Derry. um, honestly, when it comes to throwing the baby out with the bathwater, bro, people are gonna do that regardless, and that's the thing that annoys me. But it only happens, from what I can see. Excuse me. From what I can see, it primarily happens with Christianity. I don't see anybody, like, we're now starting to see a lot of smoke for the. I don't want to get any strikes put on the channel, so I'm being very selective about my wording.
Okay.
We're starting to see people push back against faiths such as Judaism, right? But that's primarily politically driven,
Yeah.
right? Where we don't see though any smoke for, bro. I am friends with a Buddhist, right? I'm friends with a Buddhist, and this man has done some insanely wild things. I don't even want to go into laying out this man's dirty laundry, right? Not my business, not my place. You know what I'm saying? But we don't see the smoke for them. You see what I'm saying? We don't see the smoke for no other faith to that effect when it comes to throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Nobody wants to say, well, that's just him. You know what I'm saying? When it was Peter Popoff, they didn't say that's just him. When it was Creflo Dollar, they didn't say that's just him. You see, am I making sense? It's never a isolated incident. And
Look at the Christians.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And what's interesting about this is it's not the majority. From where I'm standing, it's not the majority. We're talking about billions of people, bro. We're talking about billions of people. Even if it was 100 million, and 100 million is too many. You see what I'm saying? That's still a minority in comparison to the good that's being done. You track what I'm saying? Where are you when the church is feeding the homeless? Where are you? You see what I'm saying? When parents and people are being taken care of in the community that are believers. Where are you when these things are actually taking place? Or are you only present when there's sin to be laid around?
Good question.
Good answer. Good answer. And just to caveat off of that, we don't see now. This is something that presently or has happened within a few years ago, especially under Barack Obama's tenure. We don't see a lot of smoke for Arab Islam.
Nope.
Within the black community. Just over 10, 15 years ago, there was a Arab diplomat who was arrested for slavery. He had 3 Asian women enslaved in his home in Virginia. You can look that up.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah,
and that was on the news.
It was.
Yeah, I remember.
But I don't never hear nobody speaking about that.
Nope.
Ever.
Why?
I very seldom hear anything about Northern Africa and the Arab slave trade out there. It happened for a long time.
You don't ever hear about that, and
I want to say that was during our lifetime.
Yeah,
right or wrong.
That's right.
And I don't never hear nothing about that.
And the question to that is why?
And I feel like there was a time where I was at work and I met a lady that was like from Northern Africa, and she was I'm not gonna call her strange. She was different, and she had let me know, hey, look, I'm finally here in America. I'm coming to start my life over. She was saying how she wasn't a fan of anything Muslim. It was just, she was like, I don't deal with that. And then once she got into the details, I was like, I didn't even know about the Arab slave trade. I was young then. It was like my first ever real job.
Bro, it's still happening to this day.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, it's like
I didn't know a lot about the Arab slave trade at all.
But that's what I'm saying. But ain't nobody saying shit. Ain't nobody saying shit about Kevin Gates, Alum Delilah, whatever the hell it is they be saying. Nobody's saying nothing about that. But we got everything negative to say about
Alhamdulillah.
Whatever you be saying, you know what I'm talking about. Whatever you say, bro.
Oh man, what time is it? We got
my question,
15 minutes, bro. We can
wrap. My question is why? Why do we not hear about any of these people, any of these now is black atheists? Why aren't they talking about the Arab slave trade? Why aren't they talking about Muslims going around killing people? Why aren't they talking about that?
The
Killing
thing is,
black.
they might be. They just not as loud and flamboyant and
Right.
boastful as they are when they come to the faith. And what's funny is, the minute you as a Christian even try to let me formulate my words very carefully, because I'm sure there's an accuser lying in the wait. You see what I'm saying? Um, when you speak to whatever it is and the foolishness they're doing, if you even show your humanity with your emotions, the first thing these same people that claim they don't believe want to do is try to hold you to a standard that they themselves aren't even practicing. How can you instill a law, or I should say affirm a rule that you yourself don't even believe in? I have never in a million years heard of a British person holding somebody in America according to American law. Never heard it happen before a day in my life. They call 911 and let the Americans handle it if there's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
fascinating.
my
to me.
initial thoughts. I'm sorry. Go ahead, David. My bad.
No, I was just saying that Jamel, it's kind of fascinating to me because, it's called hypocrisy. And again, we have recently we've gotten into these debates about. I'm like, wait a minute, how can an atheist tell us what Christianity is not?
You can't tell me what it is. You can't tell me how to practice it. You can't.
Right.
It's like me saying to a doctor, I'm not a physician, but it's like me walking up to a doctor and he's working on a patient. The patient is darn near dead, and
Yeah, tap him on the shoulder and be like, "Yeah, you ain't doing that right.
You're doing that wrong." And he's going to turn around and probably punch me in the face. Like, dude, what do you do? What?
Or you could just turn around and be like, oh, I saved a lot of money by switching to Geico.
It doesn't make any sense. It makes no logical sense for a person, a Buddhist, to tell a Christian, hey, you're not doing that right.
Well, you gotta forget what about this part, Dave? Once they tell you you're not doing it right. Oh, I used to be a deacon in the church. I almost was a pastor a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I was
don't forget the ones that you have to remember, the ones that used to be Christians and left the faith for whatever reason. What about them? What do y'all feel about that? Yeah, I used to be a deacon, and I could just tell you.
In those cases, I usually ask them, and I'm real specific about my wording when I deal with that type, because they play a lot of word games. It's a whole lot of semantics. It's a metric ton of semantics. Exactly what am I doing wrong as a Christian from your perspective? And I want you to line it up with the Bible that you say that you used to practice, and show me exactly what I've done wrong.
And then they go to the Old Testament and say you eating crabs. You wearing jeans and cotton together.
Yeah, it's
you tithing. They pick or your Bible supports slavery, and then there's circular reasoning back to it's the white man religion.
Exactly. They move the goalpost.
And they can't let that go. It's they go from it's a white man's religion to you're eating crabs. Don't you know that's not what the Bible teaches? Well, actually,
it's not what the Bible say.
It's not what the Bible says you're doing. You're supposed to be worshiping on the Sabbath, not on the Sunday.
And that same person be gone off a perk 30 afterwards.
Why they talking to you?
And that same person got 5 baby mamas.
Hold up, but this is what they hit you with. I ain't the Christian here.
But why are you telling me to be why are you telling me what I'm not doing when you don't even believe in what I'm doing?
Exactly. Exactly.
There you go right there.
I'm just like, here's a
why not hold me to the measure of rule that you live under, instead of trying to hold me to a rule that you don't even believe in?
Right.
They can't do that because it takes logic to do that. It takes logic to do that.
So this is what the Bible says to this young man here. Let's see what the Bible says here, right?
You referring to the all religion is fake?
He said all religion is fake. Let him up. Let him explain himself. Come on, brother.
Yeah,
the link is in the chat. So
go ahead.
Just right here. Grab this.
If any man,
come on up, state your piece. You're gonna be able to speak. Nobody gonna cut you off. Say what you got to say.
Right. But let me read this scripture real quick. If any man among you seem to be religious and bridle not his tongue, but deceive his own heart, this man's religion is vain.
James chapter 1, verse 25.
Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted by the world. So, if religion is fake to you, sir, then I want you to come on here and tell us why all religions are fake. Because
I don't think his definition of religion will be the same as what you just read.
No. He's gonna say his definition of religion is just the faith itself.
Yeah, most likely.
Or he's probably not going to even touch on it at all.
Oh, you don't call you? Who is this? Okay,
it's your boy. I told you.
Hard on, kid.
Well. If it wasn't the boy Russell, shoot. Welcome back.
Yes, sir. What can we do for you, Mr. Russell?
Mm-hmm.
Unmute yourself, sir, or let me unmute for you. Unmute you. Can't unmute your guest because they. Oh, he
left. No, he didn't.
No, that was Darren.
There you go.
There you go, Mr. Russell. Hold on, let's bring Darian back on here. Let's make this good, Mr. Russell. Tell us what you got for us today on this beautiful
Tuesday.
Yeah. Taco Tuesday. Although I'm eating Chinese tonight. What's up?
Well, I think that I've got to deliver the message to Christians that Jesus never existed, just like God, that it's all fake. That the really alarming thing is so many people believe this nonsense.
Okay, fair. Wait, before we go, is this just with Jesus, or do you have an issue with Muhammad as well?
I have issue with all believers because they all wind up indoctrinating children with their Fantasyland vocabulary.
So when you say they indoctrinate children, in what way do they indoctrinate children, and what are they indoctrinating children to do? And when you say they, can you be specific about the way these religious people specifically indoctrinate children? Explain what they indoctrinate them to do, please.
Yes, sir. They use a vocabulary, and I can pick out several words, but let's try prophecy. And prophecy is a fantasy land vocabulary. Nobody looks for a prophet. If you are looking through a job applications and somebody had prophet on their application, then you'd throw that in the circular file because you know prophets don't exist. They never have existed as far as you know. And the whole idea is just absolutely silly.
Okay. So how do you explain the prophets of the Old Testament, Daniel, Isaiah, Malachi? How do you explain them? Are they not prophets?
No, I'll explain that is the problem is Christians are illiterate and they don't know what fiction is. And when you can have fiction, you can write all sorts of stuff. You can make prophecies work and everything will be just fine for you.
To make sure that I understand what you're saying, are you saying that prophecy in and of itself is a made up thing?
Absolutely.
So how do you explain the psychological term of self-fulfilling prophecy when a person believes that a thing is going to happen and they make it happen in reality through their actions since they already have it in their minds?
Well, they have control over what their actions.
By that logic, you're saying that prophecy exists. You just deny that prophecy is real with Christianity or any faith.
No, all I'm saying is the people's belief in prophecy exists. Prophecy itself doesn't exist outside of fantasy land. You don't go to the.
Here's what I'm saying. Here's my point. Here's my point, and I'm gonna make it plain so you can explain, and I'll be quiet. There's a psychological phrase. There's actually a better term for this, but they call it self-fulfilling prophecies, where a person will believe something will happen and they're convinced of it in their head, and they make it happen through their actions since they believe it's going to happen. People who typically have anxious attachments do this. That's psychology, right? It's called
Jamel,
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Jamel, I'm not going to play word games with you about
You just
what
said that
prophecy
prophecy
is.
doesn't exist. I'm just asking you, to
No,
what
no,
effect are you saying? I'm asking you, to what effect are you saying it?
prophecy doesn't exist to the extent that Christian used the term.
All right. So that's what I was asking you. That's what I was asking you. So your issue isn't with prophecy itself. Your issue is with prophecy with regards to biblical proportion, correct?
There is no such thing as prophecy, and you know it.
Okay, so how do you explain Daniel's prophecy of the birth of the Messiah at least 400 plus years before it actually happened?
Sheer rubbish. The authors can make up the stories after the fact, and for example, they know when the temple has been destroyed because they're writing after the temple has been destroyed. They're writing and making up a story about a guy named Jesus who makes the prediction that the temple is going to be destroyed before this generation passes. Yada, yada, yada. You can do anything with fiction.
But the Old Testament doesn't specifically mention Jesus's name. Daniel also was written at least 400 years before Christ. So how long? Let me finish.
Okay.
So how can these people speak of a person 400 years into the future and it actually come to pass according to exactly how it was told to them, but yet prophecy doesn't exist? How does that happen? If
The problem is he doesn't believe in biblical proportion. That's why I was separating prophecy by definition from prophecy in the Bible. You see what I'm saying? But he's saying prophecy doesn't exist at all. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, because he said they may have written after the fact, but
I mean, if y'all haven't figured it out for now, you'll be trolling. He have lost multiple times just quoting YouTube videos from whatever the dude's name is. I just closed the bookmark the other day, and I laughed and said he gonna pop back up. He's on every show. He types up a paragraph and sends it to the private chat every time.
Yeah,
I'm
trying to give him a chance to explain how did
he just don't like Christians.
Yeah.
He just don't like religion. That's fine. Like
it's a waste of time because it's going to
be.
And
the information that he putting out doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So what is his excuse now? That as to why he doesn't believe in Jesus?
Well, he's not going to give us an excuse.
I mean, we can ask him himself. Did you have a bad experience?
He's right there.
Like, did you have a bad experience?
Yeah,
do you not like it?
Yeah,
he's posting. If you look in the private chat, he has notes that he gives every time. I be reading them. You can't say Jesus didn't exist, but every other historian said he existed.
Yeah, you guys come from the aspect that you believe that prophecy is real. You have no reason to believe that. You come from the perspective that Jesus is real. You have no reason to even believe that Jesus existed. The Romans won the war in 70 AD. They took the temple, they took the documents, all the literature from the Jews. And in 130 AD, there was another big war with the Jews. Now, you're not going to tell me that the Romans won the war against the Jews and then are going to memorialize Jesus Christ after all of that. No, they would obliterate any memory of him. And what they would write is a parody of the Jewish stuff. So they're going to make fun of Jesus Christ. They're going to have him eat the body and drink the blood. And drinking blood to Jews was completely abhorrent. Now, the reason why they're doing that, Jesus is doing that, is to be a parody, to make fun of the Jewish thoughts.
Have you heard of symbolism?
No, but one more thing I want to add to this, and that is that if Jesus Christ was truly the Messiah and he had any competency, he would have finished his job by now. It's been 2,000 years, and the Jews don't buy it. You guys are never asking, why don't the Jews buy this Messiah of the Christians? That's because he doesn't fulfill
First of all,
he doesn't fulfill what the Jewish.
No, let him finish. Let him finish.
Yeah, let him finish.
okay.
I'm finished. Your Jewish Jesus Christ is incompetent because he hasn't finished the job in 2,000 years, and you've got people laughing at you in your face because you're pretending that there's a God out there that made Mormons so Christians would know how Jews feel, because the Mormons just slapped their books onto both of them.
Well, first of all, there are Jews that believe that Jesus Christ was the Messiah. They're called Messianic Jews. And secondly, I don't know of any other view that would just. Now, there are other Jews, like Orthodox Jews, Rabbinic Jews. They believe that Jesus Christ existed. Of course, they don't believe that he's the Messiah, but they believe that he existed. So I'm not.
Yeah, they reject his deity, but they fully acknowledge his historicity without question.
Yeah. So I don't really understand what your premise is.
And the reason why they reject him, as he said, we don't ask the question why they reject Jesus Christ, and he says because he didn't fulfill what they was looking for. Technically, he got a point there only because the messianic prophecies of the Old Testament were not fulfilled all the way, in the sense of they wanted Jesus Christ to get rid of the Roman Empire militarily. So because he didn't do that, they rejected Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they
But
rejected.
all that did was set them up to accept the Antichrist, who will come in as a military world leader.
Well, all through the synoptic writings, we have Jesus Christ saying to the Jews that he was God in flesh. Matthew chapter 1, verse 25 says, for they shall call him Jesus, for he shall save them from his sins. You have other passages that have Jesus even declaring himself to be deity. If you believe that I am not he, if you believe not that I am he, ye shall die in your sins. I am the door that no man shut and no man openeth. So he's declaring, these are our declarative statements. They're the declarative of deity, which means that Jesus was implicitly stating to the Jews that I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You've seen the Father, you've seen me.
Very good, and you have the Romans making the literature, which shows the Messiah hung on a cross, hung from a tree, which is a cursed position. He's not the victorious Messiah. He is completely defeated by the Romans, and he's had a spear stuck in him, proven that he's dead and he's helpless. And the Romans have done that for all time. And what's more, they've made you believe this myth that you have somebody that said, render to Caesar. Well, why not? You guys are all set up to be slaves, to think like slaves by the Christian doctrines.
Well, first of all, we do have evidence that Jesus rose again.
You don't have diddly squat because you're still struggling after 2,000 years. You can't convince anybody. You can't even convince the Jews, and they know their Messiah better than you do.
Well, they knew that he was the Messiah. They just didn't believe. Did you see the difference?
No, You know what you're told to know. You've been indoctrinated by this Christian
It's
nonsense.
like, have you been indoctrinated?
I've been baptized
Let
3
me
times, so I know all your indoctrination BS.
let me
Same with
say
me.
this to Mr.
I
Russell.
know your indoctrination.
Now, Mr. Russell stated that the Romans won. They won the war 70 A.D. You read Matthew 24. Jesus said that was going to happen. Not one stone here should be left upon another. But here's the fascinating thing. The Romans won, yes. Jesus predicted that was going to happen because of them rejecting him. Here's another thing. We have a historian by the name of Josephus who was friendly with the Romans. They didn't want the biblical scripts or the Old Testament scripts that were at the temple. They didn't want them. They told Josephus, and you can read this in the introductory part of his book, Antiquity of the Jews. They told him that he can take whatever he wanted from the temple, the gold, whatever, but instead he said he wanted the books. He wanted the books. So
we know Josephus was in on it. Josephus was one of the creators.
No, he wasn't. Because in his writing, he was so depressed about what happened that he communicated that in the introduction.
No, that's what you are told. No, that's not.
He did not want anything else but the text. No. So, okay. Well,
look, we have proof.
Can I ask a question? This is a secondary question. Let's say I am indoctrinated. What's the end game?
Right.
I still live in America. I still have a house. I still got a wife and kids. I'm still on here. You on here with me. So if I'm indoctrinated and you on here with, like, what did I lose? Like, I still live in America. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, what was the end game? Like, what's your point? Like, if I'm indoctrinated and I'm supposed to be a slave, either I'm gonna be a slave to you because you saying it, or is it because I'm like explain that to. I got follow-up questions. So let me ask my first question again. What's the end game? I believe in Jesus. I'm indoctrinated.
What do they get from that?
What do Romans who are dead now get from that now? Are you one of their ancestors?
Okay. The answer to that is that we discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls, and in there, the Jews of that time, that era, were violently against the Romans. All their writings are talking about like a war scroll is in there, and they're a dead set against the Romans. They like their freedom. They like not having another guy like a Caesar telling people that he is God. They don't like that Caesar putting his statues in their synagogues and their temples and stuff alongside their religious stuff. They don't want any images of God. So the Romans and the Jews were set up against each other for a long time. What Jesus does is he makes a comfortable Jewishness, and we have it in Galatians 3:13. Jesus helped because they got rid of the law of the Jews. That was how oppressive too. But they're under this rule of Jesus Christ. So everybody has to follow him. Well, you're following Jesus Christ just like you're told by the Roman emperors.
But what am I losing? You haven't answered my question. You basically reiterating what you've been saying. I'm trying to figure out if I'm indoctrinated in America, what am I losing?
You're indoctrinated to be peaceful and pro-Caesar. That's what you're indoctrinated.
So you're saying that I'm not willing to rebel against the government.
You're not. Yeah, you're not. You're not a Jew. You're against Jews, and you've got this now. Jesus come along, and he is brought not peace but a sword. He split you up against the Jews. It's the same God you guys are supposed to be talking about. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Let me stop you there. The first thing that was stupid that you said that didn't make sense is you said you assumed because I'm talking about Jesus that I'm passive. You never met me. You don't know me at all. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
You don't even have your screen up. So that the coward is you. So it don't have nothing to do with Christ, because if you saw me one-on-one, your energy would probably be mad humble. I guarantee you that. Secondly, when it comes to this Christianity thing, you're on here every week with the same information. Nobody's listening to you. So your gospel that you're preaching, you're the only one that's pushing it as hard as you are, and you're not rocking.
Wait a second, Darren. Wait a second. Now you're the fucking hypocrite here, because I'm the one that's not preaching.
You have a gospel. You're mad because we don't believe you. You've been trying out the same YouTube video stuff for the last 8 months. Nobody have said nothing other than, come on, bro, let's listen to you. We let you share, but you're not going to say we dumb and we illiterate. And then it's borderline. You starting to sound a little bit suspect to me. Like, I don't really care if you don't believe in Jesus. You could call me a hypocrite all you want, but one thing I'm not is a slave. One thing, nobody on here is a slave. We are free men. You got 2 men that serve this country hard body, that been to war.
Yep.
Whether you been, that's great. If you have, that's cool. But we're not going to let you talk that slavery talk, that we won't stand up against the government or whatever you saying. That's cool. You can keep saying Jesus was pushed on our people or whatever the case may be. Theoretically, if you really want to be technical, we should be leery of you.
Yeah.
If you really want to be 100%, I should be more questioning you. I know where my ancestors came from. And we beat the French the first time. Yeah, so look, it don't really matter what you're really saying. And look, you just another person that's a naysayer because you don't believe. That's cool, but I demand respect. You might be used to talking to somebody mealy mouth that sit in the house with a jelly back, and you can call me a hypocrite all you want, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work with me.
What's going to happen, Russell, and what's not going to happen is you're going to come in here and disrespect any of us. If you can't control your mouth,
no, let him rock. Let him rock, because when he get off, he don't want us going to be stressed out about it. We're gonna keep doing this every week. Hey, it's not going to stop us. You're not going to make us feel like we slaves because you saying it. You know how many white people came before you?
Hey, Russell, here's a question for you. I'm just curious. Outside of what we stand to lose, what do you stand to gain from us listening to what you're saying?
Nothing.
Yep. He didn't even respond.
Well, you know what I want to say to Darren is that you can't get respect because you're using a fantasy land vocabulary.
No, I'm really asking you a plain, Russell, I'm asking you a very plain question.
He's mad because he mad. I don't care about your respect. I don't personally know you. You're a man behind a picture. I've never seen you. You don't pay for nothing here. You're not doing nothing here, but just adding to the viewership. It don't really matter what you say. It don't make me feel bad. That's why I'm talking to you the way I'm talking to you, because it's not going to stop me from rocking. I could have been an atheist on here. I could have just been getting money for all you know. It doesn't matter what you say. You on the YouTube channel making the ratings go up. Nothing you saying matters. If you don't respect me, that's tough. I'm not going to stop and cry because Russell Shoot from who knows Michigan don't know me. I don't care about you like that. God bless you, but I don't know you. So if I don't have your respect, tough. Now if you were sending me cash apps every week, but like I'm telling you, we not none of them, bro. Like you're not gonna talk to us like we want your respect. We don't really care. You can't tell.
I really want to know.
I'm not even one. He don't know me. He's not even. He's talking to me like he can knock on my door tomorrow and offer me a couple dollars, and I could be working in his field somewhere picking cotton. That don't work with me. I don't need your respect. Whether you got on or not.
Like he came here to teach us about our faith.
Correct. Because he was baptized 1,000 times and it didn't work for him. If it didn't work for you, cool. When you die, you'll go to hell. If that's what you want, cool. I could tell you about my faith. If you don't believe it, move on.
Yeah, just move on.
Yeah, just move on. Right. That's my message for anybody that get up here like him and think it's okay for you to say what you want. Freedom of speech. You don't believe what we believe? Cool. Rock this hard when little boys is dressing like girls at the school. Be down in school.
You like your privacy. You like to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. You like preaching to the choir. You like being in that crowd.
The what? What crowd? What are you talking about?
You like being in the crowd.
Go ahead and cut this dude.
Choir.
No, let him keep saying it. He cool. It don't. If you think that's who I am, cool. At this point, I'm not gonna work myself up over that.
You're not convincing Jews. You're not convincing atheists. You like to convince yourself.
Look, he don't understand. He don't understand the current state of the Jewish people.
And it's not even that. It's not even that. It's not even that. It's not the Christian responsibility to convince anyone of Jesus Christ's deity. It's not any Christian's responsibility at all.
You know what the gospel is. You chose not to accept it. Move on. At the 3 times of sharing the information with you, I can dust my hands and my feet off. You good. You don't believe it. If the Jews don't want to accept it, that's between them and God.
He's trying to convince himself.
Yeah. I'm not worried about that. It doesn't matter. I still live in America. I'm still a homeowner. I still have my own business. Nothing he's saying is stopping me from doing anything here in America that I need to do.
I'm still waiting for that question to be answered.
He couldn't answer it.
Yeah, he's not going to answer it.
What is the
He gets off on seeing people upset. That's all.
Look, you guys. Things have changed. Yeah, the internet's come along. The scholars have gotten together. The archaeology has improved dramatically. We know Jesus Christ wasn't a fuck around. We know from the literature studies that he was completely made up, and Josephus was in on it. I have put down there in my writing in the private chat. I've given you references to get started.
Your references have been debunked 2 or 3 times already since you first been here.
My purpose is not to convince you. My purpose is just to deliver the message.
Right, no, Darius, stop. And that's my point. What do you stand to gain? What do you gain?
Right.
Absolutely nothing.
We're still waiting on your question, on your answer.
We will not answer it. We won't.
What do you gain from a Christian saying, you know what? Fuck Jesus. What do you gain from that?
We will not answer the question.
Your Honor, I would love to strike this man's message from the record.
I just want to know what he gained from it, because that was my initial question from the rip. Why do you do this every week if you know that you're going up against people you don't respect us? You already said you didn't respect us. So since you don't respect us, why come here and keep talking to us? What's the point of that? That's all I'm trying to figure out. When you posted this stuff in the chat for the show and it been up for 2 days, his comment was the only one there. I'm like, it's people, it's atheists, just to make you feel better about yourself. You right. Most of the atheists probably won't even listen. They won't. But we got at least one though. We got at least one.
Yep, and that's you.
Y'all are funny.
We got you. You on here with us.
Hey, so
faithful every time we do a show.
Struggling within itself.
We still care enough to keep talking about you. That's why I won't let them kick you. And your man's who jumped in here just to say all religion is fake, but don't even know the definition of religion.
Why speak at all if you don't even know the words that's coming out of your mouth? That makes no sense at all to me.
So
So
Russell, in all honesty, or I'm sorry, I don't know you. We're not friends, Mr. Shoot. In all honesty, I'm asking genuinely, what do you gain from this?
He will not answer the question.
I can tell you. Since he ain't gonna answer, I'll
No,
answer.
give him a second. Maybe he gotta think. Maybe he's computer AI. He might need to type it in first.
Young, he done had 5 minutes to explain himself.
20 minutes, if you ask me.
Yes. What's yours? Answer the question, please, Mr. Russell.
Okay, I took a break. What was the question?
The question is, what do you stand to gain from a Christian accepting what you're saying and renouncing their faith? What do you gain from that?
Oh, I don't know if it's even that much. I just enjoy shooting Christians. I like because it's like shooting fish in a barrel. Their theology is so bad, their history is so bad, and their vocabulary is horrible.
Vocabulary.
So it's very easy to criticize Christians. That's what I get off on. I like to scold them.
Right.
I like to scold
That's all I
them.
need to know. So it's a wait. This was a waste of time.
Yeah, for you,
Mm-hmm.
at least that's what you're saying.
He's on a project to gloat himself, to prop up himself. He's not worried about nobody else.
I also noticed that when he came on, the viewership dropped a little bit. So this probably be his last time on my show. Any show that I'm on, he can stay in the comments and leave his messages and troll like that. But we probably won't have you back on the show.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's too bad. I'd like to talk to Darren some more if he was get away from that filibustering habit he has. That's one thing I noticed with Christians when you discuss with them and you think they don't like to hear. Christians or any believer really is once you start talking to them, they don't hear something they don't like to hear. They'll be just like Darren. They'll talk right over you.
Mr. Shoot, I haven't talked over you once, and I asked you a very simple question, and you actually became belligerent. I actually gave you an example of prophecy in psychology, and you stated that prophecy, by and large, in any definition, was fake. And I gave you a psychological definition of prophecy, and I asked you, do you also reject that definition?
No, I'm not even going to address that, Jamel. That's just getting off into word games. You like to play word.
This is not a word game. You said I'm asking you a question, sir.
I'm not talking about Bible prophecy. You're talking about psychological prophecy.
You stated no, sir. We can play back, sir. We can play back the video, Mr. Shoot. Mr. Shoot. We can play back the video. You blatantly stated that prophecy was
who's
fake.
The filibuster now, buddy?
You literally stated that prophecy was fake. That's what you stated. You said prophecy was fake, and I then brought up an example of prophecy
and he wasn't
outside of biblical proportion.
You just said it yourself. Outside of biblical proportion, we're talking about Bible prophecy here.
All right, then your issue, and I turned around and stated that your issue was with strictly biblical proportion. You only have an issue with prophecy as it pertains to the Bible then.
Yeah, and I went back at you and I said, your problem is with definitions. And I don't want to play games with you, Jamel.
Problem with definitions.
Yeah. We're talking about Bible prophecy. You're going off on this tangent so you can own the conversation.
I really hope people go back and watch this video, because he blatantly said, I kid you not, he verbatim stated he had an issue with prophecy, period. And I asked him twice. Now he's saying biblical prophecy, but that's fine. I mean, dude, I'm done with the conversation. I'm done with the conversation.
I was correct. I said I do have a problem with prophecy as a whole. And then you went back and you wanted to change the subject, go on this tangent and change it into your definition of things.
No, I didn't change the definition. You said you had a problem with prophecy as a whole.
No,
you said you had a problem with prophecy as a whole.
I do.
All right. And prophecy as a whole. That's left, sir.
Yeah,
That's a
and
statement.
we
That's a
don't.
statement.
No
That's a
go. It's a no go.
All right. So now you see,
We're talking
how
about
he's now incorporating the same
where
filibustering that he claims
yeah.
that Darian was doing moments ago.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Let's
now
hear
he's
it,
not
Ken.
going to let
All
you
right.
talk.
All right. So, Mr. Russell, we want to say thank you
Have a
for
good
coming.
night.
Yeah.
God bless
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
The heck out.
I told you he don't really be knowing what he be talking about. What he wants to do is troll, and he likes to see people get upset.
He keeps repeating the same phrases over and over. He did that before when we did the evolutionary piece.
Bro,
Yeah.
I was really specific. I said, do you have an issue with prophecy generally?
Now,
Or is it
initially, G-Far, do you want to still get up on here, or is it Gee or G-Far? Do you want to get on here? I promise I won't talk to you the same way I was talking to the one dude. But
Yeah. 5
that
minutes.
dude he plays all the time with us.
Hey, Darian, y'all can still keep going, but in 5 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off.
No, we could wrap it up because I don't think he probably not even in the chat no more.
He's not.
G-Far?
No, he's not. The first, this is his only comment, and that was at 11:33. It's now 10 after 12.
Right.
Yeah, he just came on to say his piece and bounce. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone.
I did
what
want
it
to
is.
ask Russell about his opinion about what Islam was doing with slavery and black people. I wonder if he doesn't
care. He doesn't care. Guarantee
He could care less about that. I'm just curious to see who's other shows that he carouses around other than this particular channel.
It's probably just this
It's
one.
only Christian shows. He don't be on nothing dealing with Islam.
Bro, he would
Back
shit
in
himself
Israel.
I promise you, he would have diarrhea himself if he went on a Muslim channel trying to talk crazy about Islam.
And that's how the majority of them are. Again, we don't see that much smoke.
I'm glad he came on. That is a prime example. And what he thought was, what he basically tried to say is that we were slaves and we was impressionable to the point where anybody could do anything to us. I'm like, by that logic, I would let you talk because you white. That's not going to work. And that's not an issue with white people. I have a problem with people like him who talk that wild talk like we just
like
anybody. It ain't because we on the internet. This is who we are in real life.
Right.
That's why I tried to say, like, bro, some of us have done things before we got to where we are that can make you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even know who you talking to. You just making blatant statements because your lack of respect for Christianity. It's all types of people in Christianity: boxers, drug dealers, killers,
yes.
rich guys, poor guys, angry people. Not, you know what I'm saying? There's a whole spectrum of people within the Christian spectrum. So I'm just thinking to myself, like, how can you say that because we believe something that you don't believe, that we're willing to be, I guess, subverted? You know what I'm saying? We're willing to be slaves again. Like, don't talk to me like that. Don't say that because you don't know what you're talking about. Now, if you said that we could go for anything or whatever, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't really genuinely know. He's making a generalized statement about people he's never actually met, and that's weird to me. Because I would never say all atheists. I would never say all atheists are racist. That's not a statement I would make. All atheists support LGBT. I would never say that because that's not true. It's a generalized statement. I would only do something like that if I was looking to rouse somebody up, and he wanted to use the word filibuster in the sentence, which I haven't heard since like the 12th grade. So good job for you, Russell.
What it is that a lot of these guys will say all of these things, and this goes right back to the beginning of the show. All these guys have all this to say about Christians because they believe that we are stupid. But the Muslims, all the Buddhists, you think they would say all these things to them? You would think that they would have them on their shows.
Man, these idiots would line up with Buddhists and eat eucalyptus leaves if they could, bro.
I mean, you notice the black conscious community has embraced a lot of Buddhist ideology within.
Yeah, a lot of it have embraced a lot of occult ideology. A lot of,
but if it's Christian though,
we gotta. Oh no, we can't have you around because
the crazy thing about it is his whole argument is based on saying that Jesus didn't exist. Even some of the best atheists concede that to a historical Jesus. So had he said that, I would have even let him rock longer. But four times in a row at this point have he come on the show or been in the chats talking reckless. And like, bro, when you was questioned by other people that was on the show, they literally asked you where you getting your information from. You forward us to a book. The material that you getting came from somebody else who basically copied somebody else's information and got rebutted.
Yep.
They got a whole website on this particular guy. I can't think of his name. My actual main computer that's over there.
What was his name?
Yeah, we was on here together, me and you.
Yeah, I forgot his name. But anybody else want to close?
Before we close out, Jamel, what's your final take on the night?
Honestly, my final take is I don't think we're ever gonna see a situation where the Christian faith will be respected. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I just genuinely don't. For as long as people truly want to feel like they're in control of everything and they right the rights and wrongs that they see fit in their own lives, they'll always want to fight against the Christian faith because from where I'm standing, and this is not any knock against any other faith, I don't have anything against any other faith, but the Christian faith outright has a concrete law against how human beings should be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Flat out. Like, it's a concrete moral law, and it goes in line with what we already know within ourselves. You know not to harm a child. You know what I'm saying? These things you know. But the Christian Bible makes it explicit. And a lot of people have a problem with my opinion. This is opinion. It's not stated in any fact. It's all based in my experiences with people who don't believe as I do or take issue with the Christian faith. They typically have a problem with that rule of law. They themselves want to do things that don't fit in with the Christian identity. And that's just where I stand with it. They're going to always create these situations. There always will be. There's always going to be smoke for Christians, whether anybody likes it or not. That's just what it's going to be. And it has nothing to do with it within and of itself. You know what? Let me correct myself. It may have something to do with the Christians because a lot of people, now these people are hurt and walking around, carrying around that hurt and trauma from whatever this experience. But for the most part, a lot of it has less to do with the Christian and more to do with they themselves and what they're experiencing in their life. That's psychology 101, bro. If I don't know somebody and I'm walking down the street and they mad at me for no reason, he got something that he got on his shoulder that he's dealing with. That has nothing to do with Jay. You see what I'm saying? I don't have to play into the narrative in his head. He has an issue that he's dealing with. Likewise, this also goes for the Christian faith. Whatever you got going on is what you have going on, fam. And I pray it gets better for you. I do. But that doesn't mean that my faith is fake simply because it makes you uncomfortable.
Very good.
I'll sum up behind him. I just say I also agree. I definitely agree with the fact that the Christian faith, the scriptures say that, they hated Jesus, they hate you too. So just as a proponent of Christianity is to know that you're going to win a few, but not everybody that's in the mix is going to accept what we believe. As the days get worse, there will be more hatred for Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be a person, as I said earlier before we had the dude get on the show. You got tons of people who are claiming to be Christians, or even if they are Christians, who have done the wrong thing. They went left when they were supposed to go right. We never going to be perfect. The dude called me a hypocrite today and said I filibustered. Probably I did. You know what? At the end of the day, I'm human. I'm not one of them people you could just talk crazy to. I've never been that person. So, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we make mistakes. And Christians have made, I'm not saying that, let's say for instance, there is slaves that was Christians. I mean, people that was enslaving Christians. We dropped the ball. Christianity is not designed to say I'm perfect, I'm pure, and and of myself. The whole purpose of the faith is to look towards Jesus Christ, who was the perfect sacrifice and redeemer of all mankind, not just the Jews, not just those who lived in XYZ area at the time, not just the Romans that supposedly recreated this story. None of that stuff that Yo was saying even really truly lined up. But the point I'm making is we gonna be hated. The more we do positive in the community, the more we're seen. There are people who don't want us to do the work simply because it makes them uncomfortable. And as Jamel was saying, some people really want to do certain things that the Bible does not condone. And if you don't like rules and regulations, you gonna find a way to break law. There's people who lie on their taxes, and that's not even directly wrote about in the Bible. Or maybe it is, and I just
Give
don't know.
unto Caesar that which belongs to Caesar.
Right. And people don't do that. So, you know, but I don't know. According to the one dude, I'm just a passive Christian, and I don't know no better. So I shouldn't have filibustered because I'm passive. I didn't even fit in the I didn't even he was talking and I didn't even fit. I don't even fit in the stereotype he tried to give me. I'm very leery of people like that, but that's my rank, and I land the plane.
David.
Well, this has been a heck of an experience for me. But what I will say is this: the Bible says that we will be hated amongst of all nations. And so this is what we see in the Bible. This is what the Jesus warned, because we stand for Christ, and so since we stand for righteousness, we're going to be hated. And so I've never had this sort of attack coming. I mean, full frontal attack. It's not just in the shadows. It's like from people you don't know where it's coming from. No, because they're telling you we hate you people, you Christians. We don't
And
like.
he slipped up and said he was going that he likes to see a shot. Like, watch your mouth, bro.
Yeah, it's just
watch your mouth.
I was holding back too, but go ahead, David.
I think I might have been downstairs getting my clothes when he was saying all that dumb stuff. But it was just to me. All I have to say is this: that we have to come to expect it. I know the four of us do, but we still have to continue to preach the gospel, even if they don't want to hear it. We have to preach the truth. We have to continue to keep our eyes on the Lord, because if we take our eyes off of the Lord, just like Peter did, we'll sink. And so that's pretty much what I have to say on this point. But this has been a heck of a ride. It's a full frontal attack, and we have to be ready for it.
Yeah. So my final statement, pretty much, Mr. Russell pretty much proved everything that we were saying. He came on with the most ridiculous reasons why he doesn't believe prophecy is fake, bad vocabulary, all this other stuff, and it didn't make
He could have rocked with the prophecy part, and I would have been cool with it. But never mind. Go ahead. I keep cutting you off. I apologize.
No, you're good. But at the end of the day, to me, all I seen from a spiritual perspective is the spirit of Antichrist. Who is, how what does the scripture say? The man who denies Jesus, he's an Antichrist. That's what the Bible says. And so he also stated that he finds pleasure in leading people away from Christ.
Yeah, that's a demon.
Yeah, the word Antichrist, the word anti doesn't always means to be against, but it also can mean in place of. So when we asked him, what's your goal, what's your end game, he didn't want to say. But to me, I was feeling like his goal or end game is to get people to follow him.
Yeah, he already answered our question. We just didn't hear him.
In place of Christ.
Yep.
And again, when it comes to all the smoke for Christianity, yes, we've seen some of the things that individuals in the Christian faith has done, but you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If if you feel like Christians have been doing wrong, this and that, be a Christian yourself and do it right. Show the other Christians and brothers and sisters in the faith how it should be done. But
GT said, "Be the change you seek."
The change you want to see.
I'm just saying, like if you feel like something's wrong, do something and fix it. Just fix it. And so, with that being said, I think this was a good show. Welcome, my brother Jamel. I appreciate you jumping on, man. I really appreciate you joining the team, and man, we got a lot of stuff lined up for the future, and we're gonna make it happen. So, with that being said, what was that? Well, like I said, with that being said, anything else from the table?
Till next time, Russell, we'll see you again. I'm sure we will.
Not on this show.
I just if his argumentation was better, like my last point is this: you said you don't like prophets, but then you leave prophetic notes in the private chat for us. Like, I'm like, come on, bro. Like, see, for those who are watching, y'all don't know what's really going on. Dude be on every show with notations, quotations, and whole writings. Like he has his own epistle. Like, I'm like, come on, bro. Like, continue doing what you're doing, because you're not gonna stop until the Lord deliver you.
Yep.
All things considered, you can still come and watch our shows, man. You add at least one or two people to the chat. Keep watching.
Yeah, but all that jingling, jangling he doing, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing his voice. Ugh.
And then he walked away like, why be on a show if you don't want to participate? I'm tired of them acting like they want to have conversations and then leave the room while they on the church. Don't do that to me, because I'll delete you.
I kicked him out, bro. I kicked him out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a waste.
Coming. God bless you. Good night. That's what I did. You gotta go, bro.
Yeah, you got to hit the bricks.
Well,
all right. Well,
until next time, my guys. This is the Dream Team. We just added a new member, J Fax. We got David, aka Charles, and we got what did I say, Jai Talent.
Yeah, Black Planet, Jai Talent.
Jai Talent, and I'm gonna just be me for right now. Hopefully next time we'll have a show where we can have some real conversation with somebody else.
Yeah, you the Haitian assassin.
I ain't even no assassin. We could just I'm American.
We just beat people up, bro.
We would call that man barbecue.
Oh, that's funny.
No Diddy. You just called a man by a barbecue sauce. A sauce. No Diddy.
Yo, yeah. This man tripping. Well, everybody, y'all have a good evening or a good morning. From here, from the East Coast to the West to the North and the South, we are out. Peace. DMG, we appreciate you. God bless.
Peace out.